Anyway, but and he couldn't be here, but Cory Booker is a good friend, and who's on the ground in Israel. And when the attacks occurred, from everything he's doing to support the people of Israel. And I also want to thank him for pushing so hard for the projects we're about to talk about. And Governor Phil Murphy couldn't be here either, but he's also a strong, strong supporter. And one thing before we get started, let's go Phillies. You watch that game last night? Yo!
You may be owed an inflation relief payment, and actually new relief programs have been expanded to help more households. The lawmakers have agreed for more payments to be put toward these relief payments. Even eligible residents to these states will be able to receive up to $1,000. They will be getting a lot of money. And now thousands of more older and disabled Pennsylvanians will qualify for help from a landmark state property tax rebate program after the governor has signed a major expansion bill into law. The program, which provides a partial refund on rent or property taxes paid the previous year, offers a financial cushion to some of Pennsylvania's most vulnerable residents, but the number of people receiving the benefit has fallen every year since 2009, after state lawmakers failed to update the income limits to qualify. The new law actually reverses that decline and seeks to prevent it going forward. An estimated 173,000 households will be newly eligible, and they're going to receive a boost in the dollar value of the rebates. Income limits will also be adjusted for inflation each year to ensure that small, routine increases to Social Security benefits do not knock people out of a major program. A major factor in the shrinking number of residents getting help. For the governor, expanding the property tax and rent rebate program fulfills a key paying promise. The change represents the largest tax cut for seniors in nearly 2 decades. Despite reservations from some Republican lawmakers about the potential for automatic spending increases, the bill passed the State House with widespread bipartisan support and was unanimously approved by the State Senate. As a contentious budget impasse over school vouchers draws to a close, Shapiro said the expansion is an example of what it looks like when Republicans and Democrats come together to get the stuff done. Previously, the income cap to qualify was $15,000 for renters and $35,000 for homeowners. The new measure eliminates the disparity by raising a limit to ensure that $45,000 goes to both people. The lowest income households will be eligible for rebates of $1,000. That's the previous maximum. If you reside in California or Georgia and you have yet to submit your state income tax returns for last year or 2 years ago, it's crucial to take action because taxpayers who received an extension from the IRS have until October to complete the tax filing. To be eligible for the credit, you must have had a tax liability in 2021. Georgia residency is not a state or strict requirement. However, you've had to pay taxes in the state. The amount of your potential refund is contingent on your income and the tax you paid. For single taxpayers, the maximum refund is $250, while those filing as heads of households can receive up to $375. And all eyes will be on the September jobs report when it is released Friday morning as investors look for clues about the labor market's health in the face of higher interest rates and sticky inflation. Are going to have to go through this. With that being said, a Social Security policy analyst has told Yahoo Finance that even as inflation moderates, it will be more difficult for lower and modest income seniors and those who have been retired to dig out of the shortfall between what Social Security beneficiaries received over the past 2 years. And this effect of actual inflation is going to not be good, because according to the SSA, nearly 9 out of 10 people aged 65 and older receive Social Security benefits. Among the elderly Social Security beneficiaries, 12% of men and 15% of women are on Social Security for 90% of their income. For the typical retiree, it covers about half the retirement income. Seniors overall have been feeling the gap for months now. Last fall, nearly 2 out of 5 of the 1,500 retirees had this problem. The Senior Citizens League reported that their standard of living had worsened since March 2020, and they had depleted savings faster than planned. Roughly the same percentage that they had no savings and had piled on debt and had tackled low-income assistance programs. So when the Social Security Administration, the federal government agency that oversees the benefit, announced the increase for this year, the largest since 1980, when the COLA was 11%, there was a resounding echo of applause, and that's because it raised the average type benefit by more than $140 a month. Even the adjustment, coupled with a decrease in Medicare Part B premiums, was expected to make a significant difference in making ends meet for more than 70 million senior citizens. The expansion would be financed by consolidating other tax benefits, including a significant revamp of the Earned Income Tax Credit. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimates the number of children living in poverty would decline by 1 million under the Romney proposal, and the roughly 20 million children families making less than $50,000 would be better off by this. Analysts have also argued that roughly 10 million people will be worse off under the Romney plan, due in part to its proposed cuts. So, hopefully President Biden can do something about this. We got some bad news. Some really big changes are actually coming to monthly benefits soon. Officials have always confirmed that millions of Americans are at risk of losing health insurance in just a few weeks, and very important details have been announced. So be sure to keep watching because we got a ton of information about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. You definitely don't want to miss out on this because there's a ton of information that we got. So, like I said, the Biden administration is telling healthcare providers to begin preparing for an end to the public crisis emergency. The change will have broad implications for Medicaid health insurance recipients, and it could significantly impact how hospitals and pharmaceuticals operate. The health secretary told reporters on a call that how the United States manages this crisis will provide crucial data on whether the emergency needs to remain in place. The Health and Human Services Department will give the public 60 days notice before lifting the crisis emergency. His comments come after President Biden claimed in September that the crisis is over. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services told healthcare providers in August to start preparing for a return to pre-crisis rules as soon as possible. The crisis emergency was first declared by the former president in January 2020, and the health emergency has allowed millions of people to receive increased food benefits through the federal government nutrition program. And when the public health emergency does end, the Health and Human Services Department estimates up to 15 million people will be disenrolled from Medicare and health insurance programs. Nutrition experts fear that millions of families will face a hunger cliff. The most dramatic impact from ending the health emergency will fall on people enrolled in Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program, which is known as CHIP. Medicaid provides inexpensive and often free health insurance to lower-income adults. Medicaid enrollment increased 26% during the crisis to a record of more than 90 million people as of June. States received extra federal money through the Families First Crisis Response Act for Medicaid and CHIP on the condition that they be kept all current and new recipients enrolled during this public health crisis. And before the crisis even began, people had to renew their Medicaid coverage every year by confirming to state officials that they still met income and other eligibility requirements. Medicaid and CHIP will return to business as usual when the crisis emergency ends. States will have 14 months to verify who is eligible and who is not, but an estimated 15 million people will still have to leave the program. Officials have said that about 7 million people lose Medicaid coverage, and not only that, but despite being eligible for the program, they will get this. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has sought to tamp down worries that the GOP majority would use a raising federal debt ceiling as leverage to secure reforms on government programs like Social Security and Medicare. McCarthy, who is hoping to be Speaker if Republicans take control of the House, told reporters in an interview that Republicans will try to get concessions on spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt limit. A must-pass pressure measure